Here's your resume with a picture of you burning a flag. See that one? That goes in this pile over here. I can't believe the stuff I find in background checks now. These people are screwed.
I'm sure you saw all of the arrests being made at UCLA, at Columbia, at other places over the last couple of days, and it makes you feel good. But, you know, they're all covering their faces, right? And they're covering their faces because they're ashamed of what they're doing. They know what they're doing is wrong. And most importantly, mommy and daddy either spent a lot of money or borrowed a lot of money to put them in that very expensive university. And, they want to make sure that they get a job afterwards. These people, these are future lawyers, future doctors, future, teachers and professors themselves. They're down for the cause, but not so far as it's actually going to affect them making six figures now that they've graduated from Columbia or wherever. So they think that by wearing their little COVID mask and their face diaper or their little cosplay keffiyeh, I'm down with Yasser Arafat's scarf around their face, that in some way they're immune from any kind of repercussions from their actions. Well, they'd be wrong. Let's bring on Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank. He was on The Five yesterday, and he gave a little insight into actually what's happening here with these students and what their future job prospects might be. And it's pretty glorious. Take a look.
What makes this different from all the other previous protests we keep hearing about is that you can see everything clearly.
Yeah.
How is this going to shape up for the futures of these bigots?
So student protests have been with us hundreds of years, and there's always the passion when you're young. What's different about this time is, for the first time ever, because you think about the protests in the 60s and 70s, they were shot on 16 millimeter film, very, very grainy, hard to get resolution, particularly at night. Not the case now. Everything being shot now is 1080p or 4K, even the surveillance cameras. Every single image, even at night now, goes into an AI generator and will tell you who that individual is. So I hire people. I have a lot of companies. I hire thousands of people. Within weeks, I'm going to be able, when we're doing your background check, I'm going to find this because it's going to be in there on the dark web. Those are the services we buy. It's only $5,000 to do a deep, dark check. Here's your resume with a picture of you burning a flag. See that one? That goes in this pile over here, because I can get the same person's talent in this pile that's not burning anything.
Right.
I don't care what university, what you're burning, or whose side you're on. You'll never know why you didn't get a mortgage. You'll never know why you didn't get into college. You'll never, in advanced education, you'll never know why you didn't get the job, because we see you now. And all you need is to have your eyes exposed with a new 4K image, and for the rest of your life, you're in this pile. So there's plenty of consequences for all those people. Even an image that far away, AI can generate who they are by the way the body moves. I can't believe the stuff I find in background checks now. These people are screwed.
Yeah.
What did Jesse say?
We want them to be screwed too. And listen, that is true. As much as we hate Big Brother and the surveillance state, and it is creepy that AI can do that, in cases like this, that's a fine use of artificial intelligence and the surveillance state, don't you think? And that is true. It is 100% true. As long as we can see your eyes on camera, and these are all very clear shots of people's eyes, then your identity will be discovered. And if an employer, especially a big ticket employer, a Fortune 500 company who can't afford to hire somebody who has this kind of dirty, sordid past, if they're interested, they can figure it out. And that's pretty good. That's pretty nice. Of course, if you are looking for a job in the Biden administration, or maybe the future Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom administration, I'm afraid probably those piles will be reversed that Kevin O'Leary just pointed out. I'm looking at this picture, and you burned the American flag and screamed chants in support of Hamas and against the state of Israel, including anti-Semitic chants as well. We're going to put you in this pile over here where we hire you for the Justice Department. In fact, young lady, I want you to be in charge of the Civil Rights Division. It's actually probably a feather in the cap if you're looking to get a job for the Democrats. But for most people in the private sector, for-profit organizations, I still want to think that would be a liability if you're looking to get hired. And by the way, the protests that happened at UCLA and the arrests that were made last night, something really beautiful happened. These arrests began, and the police moved into the compounds, the encampments, at around 2 a.m. Los Angeles time. By the time they got to about 5:30 in the morning, Los Angeles times, it was time to arrest everybody when the sun was up so everybody could see. And I want to believe that this was planned and coordinated on purpose, because the police had everybody held and processed in one area where they were stood up, they were frisked, they were then put in the zip tie handcuffs. And the next thing that happened is the police took their masks off their faces. Then, once their face was exposed and their hands were behind their back so they couldn't cover themselves up, at that point, the police did the perp walk. And they walked them specifically right past where the TV cameras were, certainly past where the Fox News cameras were. So this young lady, or, well, person, I certainly don't want to presume any gender, they probably thought that their little mask was going to cover them up and hide their identity, but they were wrong. And you can see all of them over there as they're getting handcuffed. Their masks are taken off their face, and then they are marched one by one, individually, right past the cameras, and they're put on the bus to go to jail. Now, listen, this is still Los Angeles, and this is still the state of California, and I have no hope that these people will actually be detained in jail for anywhere more than an hour, if even put in jail at all after their process. And I have no doubt, sadly, that the district attorney in the county of Los Angeles probably won't press charges and will probably expunge their records. But as Mr. O'Leary just said, their identity is now known, especially because of this move. And if they thought that their anonymity was going to be protected and they'd be able to end up being a school teacher or a lawyer at a big ticket firm or a Wall Street broker or a PR consultant or anything, well, I want to think they've got another thing coming, because now everyone knows who you are, and everyone knows what you believe, and everyone knows what you stand for. And maybe this move right here will keep the next group of pro-terrorist, anti-Semitic dirtbag protesters from doing what they did in California. And you know what? What I just showed you, as gratifying as it may be to see those protesters get arrested and perp walked out, it doesn't quite satisfy. So let's rewind a little bit into earlier in the morning or late into the night and watch how the California Highway Patrol really handled some of these people.
On the campus of one of the great universities in the country, the most applied to school in the country, one of the most respected institutions around the world, a scene that looks like a war zone.
Yeah, it sure did look like a war zone, and they weren't gentle by any stretch of the imagination, and they didn't take any nonsense. And by the way, isn't it interesting that it's California Highway Patrol Special Operations Unit that was put in? See, that's what the SOU on the vest stands for, and CHP. That's the state police in California, not the local LAPD. I wonder why. I wonder why it was the state police that came into Los Angeles to handle this at UCLA instead of the city or even the county sheriff in Los Angeles. It does make you wonder, doesn't it? But they're all handled, and he's right about UCLA being the most applied to university and one of the hardest to get into. It's a 9% acceptance rate with a huge number of applications. I know this because that building there that you see where everybody was encamped with the two twin towers there, sort of bell towers, that's Royce Hall. 2 years ago next month, I was right there in that quad at Royce Hall celebrating the graduation of my daughter who went there. I know how hard it was to get in. It's not a piece of cake school at all. And it drives me insane to see what's happened to it, what has been allowed to happen to it under the guise of justice and under the guise of trying to win an election. Because I do tell you right now, I think these people thought this was going to help them and somehow hurt Trump. boy, oh boy, did that boomerang just hit them right in the face. One other thing here, though, about these protesters' future prospects. Like I said, I want to believe, Kevin O'Leary, I want to believe that companies aren't going to seek out these people, that they're actually going to avoid them like the plague. I want to believe that. But sadly, look at this tweet from this person named Andrew Dodum. He put out on social media yesterday, moral courage is greater than a college degree. If you're currently protesting against the genocide of the Palestinian people and for your university's divestment from Israel, keep going. It's working. There are plenty of companies and CEOs eager to hire you regardless of university discipline. Apply here. And then he puts a link in to the company that he's the CEO for. It's this company called HIMS. Oh, look at that fine video on their website. And this is where you can see their other positions and join the team at HIMS. HIMS, by the way, is an online pharmaceutical company that sells boner pills. So if you're having trouble getting it up, by all means, solicit the great work that HIMS does. And by the way, now you know the kind of people that they like to hire to sell you their boner pills. It's weird, though. I actually literally remember HIMS at one point advertising on the Ben Shapiro podcast. I'm quite sure I remember that ad because it sort of caught my notice that that kind of product was being sold on Ben's show. It was a couple of years ago, but clearly there's a difference of opinion from the leadership at this boner pill company. Can I say boner pill one more time? And the Ben Shapiro podcast, and certainly our podcast. I hate to tell you, Kevin, I don't think we're going to get a sponsorship from HIMS. Are you cool with that?
That is A-okay by me.
All right, we're taking a stand. Oh, one other great opportunity for the dirtbag college students who have been arrested and thrown out of their colleges for supporting terrorists. If they don't get a job at the boner pill company, HIMS, there's better news. You can continue your education overseas. According to Newsweek, there is a university in Iran who is now offering full scholarships to any student expelled from a university college in the United States of America. And it makes sense, after all. Iran, with our money, is funding the terrorists that started all of this in the first place. So I guess they feel somewhat responsible. So if you just got expelled from a college and you want to continue your education, you should take them up on their offer. Go fly to beautiful Tehran and continue your education at their fine universities. I'm really looking forward to the admissions process. When you come in and you say, hi, my name's Cricket. My pronouns are they, them, he, her. That's right, all four. And I'm doing a gender studies major with a barista minor because I'm really going to apply my gender studies degree to making the most radical espressos and cappuccinos for people at my local coffee shop. So I'm just wondering how inclusive your gender studies program is here at the University of Tehran. And also, do you have some safe spaces that I can utilize whenever things get a little overwhelming for me during my studies? What's that? You want me to go with you up to the rooftop of the building? Oh, sure. I'd love to see the view from up there. And I think we all know what happens next to poor Cricket. Is that the name I gave him? Cricket? Or her? Them? I think it was Cricket. That's what's going to happen. And honestly, at this point, I'm okay with it.